Welcome back, my friends. I'm Messiha. Let me tell you how everything began. Before there was sky, before there was land, before the gods had a name and death existed, there was only chaos. A world without form and direction, drifting, waiting to be shaped. Not just creation, the birth of order. If the legend calls to you, like and subscribe and stay with the journey. Now, Morrigan takes the stage.
In the beginning, heaven and earth had not yet separated. Yin and yang were intermingled, and the world existed like a mass of floating oil, shapeless and adrift. At this time, the first gods came into being. First, Ame no Minakana Nushi no Kami, then Takamimu Subi no Kami, and Kami mu Subi no Kami. They were solitary gods, and after appearing, they concealed themselves. After this, other gods came into being, until heaven and earth gradually separated. When the land was still young and floated like a drifting jellyfish, the heavenly gods gathered together and decreed, "The land must be made firm." Thus, two gods were chosen, Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto. And they were commanded, "Go and give form to this drifting land and make it firm." Then a heavenly spear was entrusted to them, called Ame no Nuhoko. Izanagi and Izanami stood upon the floating bridge of heaven and lowered the spear downward. They stirred the waters below, and then drew the spear back up. What dripped from the tip of the spear hardened and became an island. That island was named Onogoro Shima. Izanagi and Izanami descended upon that island and raised a great pillar and built an 8-forked hall. Then Izanagi said to Izanami, "Let us perform the marriage rite." They walked around the pillar, Izanagi from the left and Izanami from the right. When they met, Izanami said, "What a fine man." Then Izanagi said, "What a fine woman." And they became one. But the child that was born was weak and had no limbs. They named him Hiruko and set him adrift in a boat of reeds. Then another island was born, but it too was incomplete. So Izanagi and Izanami returned to the heavenly gods and asked, "Why are our children imperfect?" The gods replied, "Because the woman spoke before the man." So they performed the rite again. This time Izanagi spoke first, and then Izanami. Then complete offspring were born. First the island of Awaji, then Iyo, Oki, Tsukushi, Iki, Tsushima, Sado, and finally Yamato. These were the 8 great islands of Japan. After this, Izanami gave birth to many gods, the gods of the sea, the gods of rivers, the gods of mountains, the gods of plains, and the god of wind. At last, Izanami gave birth to a child named Kagutsuchi no Kami, the god of fire. But the birth of fire burned Izanami. She fell ill and died. From that time on, death appeared in the world for the first time. End of part 1. From the birth of fire, death was born.
So, from the birth of fire, the death entered the world. Izanami fell, yet life went on. Chaos still moves in the shadows, and challenges aren't over. And the last chapter, wait, full of secrets, dangers, and choices, will be change everything. And yes, somewhere in the shadows, Morrigan smiles.